Hi, friends. Doc South here, and in good old New Jersey. Oh, excuse me. Gee, shaking. Oh, earthquake. In New Jersey, we don't get too many. But now and then you get one. You might get something like that, and then it's gone. Yeah. It might have been a truck passing by. Maybe a couple of oil tankers. Wow, yeah. So we don't get it too much here in Jersey, but California evidently in the last few days has gotten, I guess, a fair amount. I guess I'm as near as I know, no serious injuries, which is a good thing because they can be, they can be very deadly in under the wrong circumstances. But I have family out that way, so naturally I hear earthquakes in California. I picture my son and his wife, Burgess and Claudia and little Dora running for their lives. Buildings falling all around them. But I don't know. So I called my son up, and he said, "Yeah." He says, "Yeah, Dad." He says, "No, it was the house shook a little, but he says we expect that here in California." He says, we get it happens all the time. He says, and it stopped, and also the epicenter was actually he says was pretty far away. It was about 100 miles away from us. It was more towards Vegas. I said, oh. He says, "Gosh, I hope it didn't wreck the highway to Las Vegas." He says, "No, that one's there." He says, "Yeah, we're fine," and he and he's I said, "Well, so you've had some earthquakes there before, huh?" And "Oh yeah," he says, "all the time. You get they're relatively common. Yeah, mostly he says they're little. You just get a little oh, yeah, earthquake." Okay. Or he says you feel a longer vibration. It's a good idea to get out of the house, check to make sure the earth isn't opening up on you or something. Just, it'll be over, and there you go. And I said, well, gosh. So anyway, it looks. I think the last one didn't even wake up, little Dora. Yeah, she. Daddy's rocking the cradle again, I guess, or mommy. And so all in all, yeah, it worked out. So far, so good. Knock wood. Okay. And but I got to thinking of a friend of mine who actually went through and I know California can have some serious earthquakes where bridges collapse, and well, the Frisco earthquake of what 1906, that was like an A bomb hit, like that. And real quick, and I remember the one time I was in California, my friends drove me to the San Andreas Fault, which was rather interesting. I pictured this. Well, I pictured it right. It's a very steep valley, and you can see where rock formations have moved from point A to point B over the course of centuries. And yeah, people got houses right on it. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. It's like a big deep gully that goes straight, and it goes for miles in either direction. Yeah, yeah. No, when I was there, nothing happened. We just sort of looked at it and went back to the bar and had some beer. About it. But it was, I guess, hey, it was kind of fascinating, and a whole lot longer than I thought it would be. Yeah. So, but in any case, I did have a friend, a childhood friend I knew during late grade school into high school, early adulthood. A friend of mine named Chet, who back in the '60s joined the Air Force, and he had an aptitude for languages. Chet did. So they looked at him and they said, "You know what? You look like a guy might like Ukrainian." And he says, "Ukrainian, what?" They said, "We're going to teach you Ukrainian. How do you like that?" And you're going to be, he said, "Well, I'm going to be an interpreter." And of course, he's picturing something out of a James Bond movie where they're slapping some poor Ukrainian spy around a bit, you know, and the guy's spilling his guts and Chet's writing down every word. Yeah, it turned out what happened was he was sent off to Turkey Okay, he was sent off to Turkey, and he stayed at a base and listened to Ukrainian radio for his, I think, for his whole 2 years. Yeah, it was nuts. It wouldn't make for a John Wayne movie. He said he was kind of a drag because it was when music, rock and roll had the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the British Invasion. Chet was in a band. He wanted to listen to music, but he's that they're just. He said he's going nuts. There was like nothing on the radio. I guess he was listening to military transmissions and trying to get the lowdown as to what, maybe they were. I don't think the Ukrainians are a very, what would you call it, warlike people, but I guess, you have to listen. I guess they were part of the Soviet bloc back then, I guess. And so he's trying to stay awake. And he said still it was nice being in Turkey, except one night he's in his barracks. Okay, he's in his barracks. Now, barracks are pretty big rooms with bunks, right? And everybody, you got your bunk, usually two or three guys to the bunk, at different levels. And Chet's, sound asleep. It's maybe 1 in the morning. Not much of a nightlife there in Turkey, I guess. And he, all of a sudden, he says he thought someone was shaking his bed, like it was time to get up. Because I've seen, like when I was the little I was in the Navy, the chiefs, if you weren't up when reveille sounded, they were already there, fully dressed and meaner than the devil. I don't think they'd had their coffee yet, and they shake your bunk, and and then you fall out of bed. They start stomping on you. Come on, get up! What are you doing, lazy? God, okay, get up, get up. After that, you wake up before reveille, right? You just lay there with your eyes open. But anyway, so Chet's bed's moving, and he's ready to go swat someone. He says, "What's going on?" And he looks, and all the other beds. Have you ever seen those old time football games that were on like a foot? There was like it was a table game, and you put it on your table, and excuse me, it was electronic, and you set your men up, and then you to run a play, you turned on the machine, it would start to vibrate, and the little guys would move all over okay. Well, he that's what was happening to his bunk, and the building was kind of swaying, and someone hollered earthquake, and Chet says, "Oh my God, we got an earthquake!" And he's looking at all the bunks, and it was a real rumbler, and luckily the barracks was built very well, and but he jumps out of bed, he's in his underwear, and I don't think soldiers wear pajamas. It's just underwear, and he's running around the room, and he's dodging the bunks are closing in on him, and all the other guys are earthquake, and they go running outside. I guess that's what they were told to do. That or just panic set in. Gosh, an earthquake, all bets are canceled. And he runs down the steps. The steps are shaking. Some guys are falling down the steps. Some guys are trying to get back up the steps. And Chet goes running out onto the parade ground. And he said the parade ground was going like this. It was like waves on the sea. I think he said it was like 3 or 4 foot high waves. The ground was, and Chet wouldn't have lied to me. He just wasn't the lying type. Or the exaggerating type. He said it was like these big waves just of dirt, just moving back and forth in the parade ground. And he said, "Oh my God, the earth's going to open up." So he goes running back in the barracks, everything's like that. And it finally stops. And of course, the sergeants come in and calm everybody down. And there was a few aftershocks that night. A little hard to sleep. Yeah. And I think everybody got a chance to sleep in an extra 5 minutes that next morning before they come in and shook the bunks. But hey, after that earthquake, you shake the bunks, everybody's up. They think it's happening again. And so Chet said, "Oh my God," he said he was never, and that happened every now and then. in Turkey, and he said it's so darn scary. And I guess they got super duper earthquakes there. And so he, so finally he gets to go back to the States. Oh, he says his hitch was up. He's going back. He's, maybe he's made a low grade sergeant, yeah, non-commissioned officer kind of thing, right? Is that non-commissioned if you're a sergeant? I think. And they land him in Texas. Lands in Texas. He's at one of the bases there, Air Force Base, basically just doing menial jobs, I guess, till his hitch is up. Maybe he's helping to teach Ukrainian to the next poor guy, and and he's asleep in his bunk in Texas, and all of a sudden, wouldn't you know it? Yep, there was some earthquake that went from like St. Louis to New Orleans and rattled Texas, and it was a biggie. It was a biggie, and poor Chet, oh my God, he said he just couldn't wait to get out of the Air Force. Moved to New Jersey again, where again, if we get an earthquake, it's a 0.004 on the Richter scale. Yeah, so, and he's much happier. I think he and his wife eventually moved down to Florida, and I don't think they have much trouble there, except for sinkholes. I know he'll have a heart attack if there's a sinkhole. Yeah, I just don't know that'd almost be worse than an earthquake. But so yeah, poor chap. Me, I don't blame them. They sound pretty darn scary. That's all I can say. I'm thinking of going out to see my son, and of course little Dora sometime in the spring, I hope, and let Dora get a little older and let them get a little more. He and Burgess and Claudia get used to the baby, but. I think, yeah, I, I don't know, maybe a little earthquake might be, I don't know if it can be arranged, but it is, I gotta say, it's rather fascinating stuff. But again, Chet, all you had to do was go sneak up behind him when he got home and shake his chair a little. Yeah, we were evil, and evil as can be. But he was yeah, he said it was pretty wild stuff. So I guess the real bad one's got to be just awful, especially where you got buildings that are prone to collapsing and stuff. That can't be good. That can't be good. So anyway, so far so good for California. Thank heaven, and well, let's hope that's just a Burgess said it was a fairly minor thing, this one, so, and pretty far away. So let's hope it stays that way. Okay. Whew. Okay. I, well, I don't know. It's just to me, the idea of the ground shaking, that is pretty darn scary. You get right down to it. And then what do we, it's got to give you the willies, man. And I would imagine after it happens, just about anything, a truck goes by on the road, you go, oh, just a truck. Okay. Well, let's hope they're all right, and prayers out to California. I'm sure they're, from what I gather, they're fairly used to it. Burgess really didn't even think to, call to say he was all right or anything. He just figured, well, it's not that bad. It's just the house just shook a little, that's all. But I don't know. The house shaking just kind of, I don't know. Anyway, I'll see you later, friends. Thank you, and God bless. Bye now.